The grand hall of the Galactic Council building stretched wider than 3 football fields. Light from 7 suns streamed through crystal windows. 200 alien species sat in rising rows, their bodies of all shapes and sizes. Some had scales, others fur. Some floated in special tanks. Others needed breathing masks. All of them watched the human on the speaking platform with shock. William Carter stood alone at the center. His gray suit was plain next to the colorful robes and natural armor of the aliens around him. He was not tall or strong-looking, just an ordinary man with graying hair and tired eyes. But as he spoke, his voice never shook. "Humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council, effective immediately," Carter said. His words echoed in the sudden silence. "All treaties are canceled. All trade agreements end today. All human citizens have been ordered to return to Earth space." High Minister Zextral rose from his seat. His purple tentacles twisted with agitation. "This is most irregular, Ambassador Carter. The proper procedure for withdrawal requires 6 galactic months of notice and approval from 3/4 of the Council." Carter simply shook his head. "Those rules no longer apply to us." "You cannot simply walk away," shouted Councillor Vreen, her feathers standing on end. Carter looked at her with eyes that had seen too much. "Watch us." 500 humans stood, up at once. They had been scattered throughout the chamber, sitting with various alien delegations. Now they moved as one, walking toward the exits in perfect order. No one shouted. No one ran. They just left. Behind the scenes, something very different was happening. Agent Samantha Ellis crouched in a dark server room deep beneath the council building. Her partner, Jack Mason, kept watch at the door. Both wore black suits that absorbed light and sound. "Got it," Samantha whispered as her device copied the last of the secret files. The screen showed what the council had tried to hide: plans to limit human colonies, to steal Earth's plants and animals, and eventually to trap humans in their own solar system. 3 minutes until the ambassador's speech ends, Jack said, checking his watch. Right on schedule. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. In the medical research station of Proxima Beta, Dr. Daniel White downloaded evidence of alien experiments on human tissue samples taken without permission. On the trade hub world of Centauri Prime, Lisa Powell discovered proof that human goods were being taxed at triple the rate of other species. The humans had known for months what was happening. They had gathered their evidence quietly and carefully. Today was just the public face of a plan long in motion. In orbit above the Council homeworld, Captain Ryan Hughes sat in the command chair of the Earthship Horizon. Unlike the flashy alien vessels nearby, the Horizon looked simple and functional. But appearances lied. Under its plain hull, the ship carried technology the Council races had never seen. "Status report," Hughes said to his crew. "All human personnel." "Accounted for, sir," replied First Officer Kelly Garcia. "Transport gates are ready. The fleet is in position." Hughes nodded. The Council thought they knew the limits of human technology. They thought humans needed the alien-built transport gates to travel between stars. They were wrong. "Begin operation." "Exodus," he ordered. Across Council space, human outposts went dark. Communication systems shut down. Transport gates connecting to Earth deactivated. Human ships vanished from sensors. In less than 1 hour, it was as if humanity had never existed in galactic society. Back in the Council chamber, the alien representatives argued loudly. Some demanded action. Others called for calm. None knew what to do. High Minister Zextral raised all 4 of his arms for silence. "Surely this is a negotiation tactic," he said. "Humans are emotional but practical. They need our technology, our markets." Councillor Drav, an ancient being of living crystal, spoke rarely but was always heard. "You are wrong," she said, her voice ringing like bells. "I have studied humans for 60 years. They do not make empty threats. If they leave, it is because we gave them reason to." "What reason could they possibly have?" asked Vreen. "We have been generous hosts to them in our galaxy." In a quiet corner, Security Chief Krull checked his datapad and frowned. His scaled skin turned a worried gray color. "Minister," he said, approaching Zexatral, "we have a problem. I cannot reach any of our agents on human worlds, and our main database appears to have been accessed." Zexatral's eyes widened. "What? Was taken?" "Everything," Krull whispered. "Project Harvest, Operation Containment, everything about our plans for the humans." For the first time, real fear showed on the minister's face. "Find Ambassador Carter, now." But it was too late. The human delegation had already boarded their ships. When Council security forces arrived at the spaceport, they found only empty docking bays. "Sir, they're gone," reported the security team. "And there's something else. The transport gate they used has been altered somehow. We can't trace where they went." That night, emergency meetings filled the Council building. Military commanders made plans to surround human space. Intelligence officers tried to predict what humanity would do next. Trade ministers calculated the economic damage. Only Councillor Drav remained calm. When asked why, she merely pointed to historical records from Earth. "Humans have a saying," she told the others. "Beware the fury of a patient man. We have tested their patience for too long." 3 days later, Council scientists confirmed what many feared. The Sol system, Earth's home, had vanished from all sensors. Not destroyed or hidden behind shields, but completely removed from detectable space. Along with it went every human, colony, outpost, and ship. Humanity hadn't just walked away. They had taken their ball and gone home, in the most literal sense possible. And despite themselves, despite their advanced technology and ancient wisdom, the Galactic Council felt something, new fear of what would come next. 6 months passed since the humans disappeared. At first, the Council tried to act like nothing had changed. They told everyone that humans would come crawling back soon. Humans needed alien technology too much to stay away, they said. No species could survive alone in the dangerous galaxy. They were wrong. On the trade moon of Barta, Food Minister Zarvesh stared at empty warehouses. His 4 eyes blinked nervously as workers searched for supplies that weren't there. "How bad is it?" he asked his assistant. The assistant's tail drooped low, a sign of extreme worry. "Very bad, sir. 40% of our food supply chain was managed by human companies. We didn't know because they used local business names. Now everything is falling apart. The northern continent will start going hungry in 2 weeks." Similar scenes played out across Council space. The absence of humans was creating holes nobody knew how to fill. In the medical center on Traxxas Prime, Dr. Mektanar threw his instruments across the room in frustration. 3 more patients had died that day. Before the humans left, his success rate had been nearly perfect. "What am I doing wrong?" he demanded. His colleague handed him a tablet. "Nothing. But look at this. The medical protocols we've been using. The ones that revolutionized treatment for 17 species. They were created by a human doctor named Olivia Wright. The protocols need regular updates to stay effective. Without her, they're becoming less useful each day." Across the stars, thousands of ships floated dead in space. Their navigation systems could no longer calculate safe jumps between stars. The calibration techniques that allowed for efficient travel had been developed by a human engineer named Alan Foster. Without his regular updates, more ships were stranded every day. In the Council Security Office, Commander Vex stood before a wall of red warning lights. Each light represented a pirate attack on a trade route. "How did this happen so quickly?" asked a Council member. "Our security forces are the strongest in the galaxy." Vex looked tired. "We thought they were, but it turns out that Commander Gregory Powell's human security teams were handling 60% of our anti-piracy operations. We never knew because they worked quietly and never took credit. Now they're gone, and the pirates know it." The Council called an emergency meeting. For 3 days, the greatest minds in the galaxy tried to find solutions. They made plans to replace human workers, human technology, and human ideas. But one problem remained that no one could solve. "The humans themselves have vanished," said Chief Scientist Zol. "Not just their people, their entire star systems. The Sol system is completely invisible to our sensors. All former human colonies, too. It's as if they moved their planets to another dimension. Impossible, said High Minister Zextral. No species has that level of technology. Not even the ancient ones who came before us. Then explain this, Zol replied, showing a star map. Where human systems should have been, there were only empty spaces. Our best detection technology finds nothing. No heat signatures, no gravity wells, nothing. In private chambers after the meeting, Counselor Drav spoke with Zextral. Her crystal body glowed dimly in the low light. We made a terrible mistake, she said. Humans shared only their most basic technologies with us. They held back their true capabilities. Why would they do that? Asked Zextral. Because they wanted to be our friends, not our masters, Drav said. They limited themselves to fit in. When we betrayed them, we removed their reason to hold back. In a secret military facility, General Krull reviewed sensor data with growing alarm. Something entered our defense perimeter last night, he told his officers. It moved through our best detection fields like they weren't there. Nothing was stolen or damaged. It's like whatever it was just wanted us to know it could get in. Similar reports came in from across Council space. Shadows where no shadows should be. Systems activating on their own. Security cameras that caught glimpses of figures that vanished when approached. In his private estate, Counselor Vreen woke to find a human sitting in his bedroom. He reached for the alarm, but it didn't work. Don't bother, said the human, a woman with short red hair. My name is Agent Paula Grant. You don't know me, but I know you. You voted to approve Project Harvest, stealing biological samples from Earth without our knowledge. How did you get in here? Vreen asked, his feathers flat against his body. In fear, Paula smiled. I walked in. Your security doesn't work on us anymore. She placed a small device on his table. This contains evidence of your crimes against Earth. In 3 days, it will automatically send copies to every news outlet in the galaxy, unless the Council publicly admits what it did. Then she was gone, as if she had never been there. The next, Dave Vreen and 2 other Council members who had received similar visits called for a special session. Against the wishes of Zextral, they admitted everything. Project Harvest, Operation Containment. The plans to eventually lock humans into their home system. The public reaction was immediate. Protests erupted on 100 worlds. Many species had grown to like and respect humans. Learning of the Council's betrayal turned opinion against the government. The humans could have destroyed us, Vreen told reporters afterward. Instead, they simply left and let us see what life without them would be like. It is a more effective punishment than war. In dark space between the stars, the Earthship Horizon maintained its silent watch. Captain Ryan Hughes read the reports from their invisible agents with satisfaction. Phase 2. Complete, he told his crew. The Council has admitted their crimes, publicly. What now, sir? Asked First Officer Kelly Garcia. Hughes looked at the star map showing Council space, now surrounded by a growing network of formerly overlooked species that humans had quietly befriended during their years in the galaxy. Now we wait, he said. Let them feel our absence a little longer. Let them wonder what we're planning. Fear can be a better teacher than force. In the darkness of a formerly human colony world, now hidden from all Council sensors by technology, they couldn't comprehend. Millions of humans went about their daily lives. They built, they created, they prepared, and they waited for the day when they would return to galactic society, not as junior members to be exploited, but as equals to be respected. A year had passed since humanity withdrew from the Galactic Council. The initial panic had settled into a constant worry. Most alien species had adapted to life without humans, though things worked less well than before. Food was more expensive. Medicine was less effective. Travel between stars was more dangerous. But now new problems began to appear. On the edge of what used to be human space, the luxury passenger ship Star Dream disappeared. It had been carrying 300 wealthy tourists on a cruise past the beautiful nebula where Earth's sun had once been visible. The ship sent no distress call. It simply vanished from all tracking systems. 3 days later, the Star Dream reappeared in the same spot. When rescue teams boarded it, they found the ship completely empty. No passengers, no crew. The ship's computers had been wiped clean. Nothing showed what had happened. In the following weeks, 7 more ships disappeared in similar circumstances. Each reappeared days later with no people aboard and no record of what had taken place. The galaxy began to whisper about ghosts. "It must be the humans," said Security Chief Krull in an emergency council meeting. "They're taking our ships." "But why?" asked the High Minister. "They haven't harmed anyone. They just take the ships and return them empty." Councillor Drav's crystal form pulsed with blue light as she spoke. "I have noticed a pattern. Each ship that disappeared was connected to our plans against Earth. The Star Dream was owned by financier Grell, who funded Project Harvest. The cargo ship Lightbringer belonged to the corporation that built containment satellites designed to trap Earth in its system." The room fell silent as everyone realized what she meant. The humans were gathering evidence. 2 researchers working for the council made an important discovery. Nancy Clark and Peter Martinez had been studying the disappearances when they noticed something else, and the missing ships all had senior crew members who had known about the council's plans against Earth. Their personal data files would have contained information that could prove the council's guilt. "The humans aren't attacking us," Nancy told her colleague as they worked late in their lab. "They're building a case against us." The door to their lab slid open. No one was there, yet they both felt a presence in the room. "Hello?" Peter called out. "Is someone there?" A voice came from empty air. "Keep working. You're on the right track." Both scientists jumped in surprise. The voice continued. "Not everyone in the council was part of the conspiracy against Earth. Some of you were kept in the dark. We know who our real enemies are." Then silence. Whatever, whoever, had been there, was gone. Similar incidents happened across council space. People who had spoken against the anti-human policies reported feeling protected. Those who had supported the plans against Earth began to experience strange events. Councillor Vreen found his private files rearranged every morning. Admiral Zax couldn't access his own security system. Minister Jules' food synthesizer produced only Earth meals, no matter what he programmed it to make. Most frightening was what happened to Councillor Trell. He had been the main architect of Operation Containment, the plan to eventually trap humans in their home system. One night he woke to find himself not in his bedroom but in a perfect recreation of a human prison cell. He spent 3 terrified days there, with no contact except meals that appeared when he wasn't looking. Then he woke up back in his own bed as if nothing had happened. When asked about it later, he would only say, "They could have kept me. They wanted me to know that." The council tried everything to detect the human presence: new security systems, enhanced sensors, energy fields that should stop any physical being from entering protected areas. Nothing worked. Then came the most shocking incident of all. The High Minister of the Galactic Council was alone in his private chambers. These rooms were the most secure location in council space. No unauthorized person had ever entered them in 3,000 years. As he prepared for sleep, a human man appeared, sitting calmly in a chair. He wore a simple black uniform with no markings. "Hello, Minister," said the man. "My name is Agent Keith Anderson. I apologize for the intrusion." The minister froze. "How did you get in here?" Keith smiled. "That's not important. What matters is why I'm here." He placed a small crystal on the table between them. "This contains complete evidence of your government's plans against Earth. Every meeting, every credit spent, every illegal action taken." "What do you want?" asked the minister, trying to keep his voice steady. "Nothing," Keith replied. "This is just a courtesy. In 1 standard week, this information will be broadcast to every communication device in the galaxy. Your people will know what you did. What happens after that is up to them." The minister lunged for an alarm panel. His hand passed through it as if it wasn't there. "Don't bother," said Keith. "This room doesn't exist right now, not in the way you think it does. We've moved it slightly out of phase with normal space. No signals can get in or out except the ones we allow. For the first time, the full reality of human technology hit the minister. They hadn't just been hiding their abilities, they had been operating on a completely different level of science than the rest of the galaxy. "What are you?" he whispered. Keith looked almost sad. "Just humans. But humans who were forced to develop in isolation for most of our history. We faced extinction dozens of times with no one to help us. It made us creative." After Keith disappeared, the minister called an emergency session of the full council. For 6 straight days they debated what to do. Some wanted to admit everything before the humans released their evidence. Others suggested a preemptive military strike against where they thought human worlds might be hiding. "That would be suicide," said Counselor Drav. "If they can move entire planets between dimensions and walk through our most secure facilities like ghosts, what do you think they could do to our fleet?" In the end, they decided to wait and see what the humans would do. Next, the evidence was never released to the public. The deadline passed quietly. On the human colony world of New Terra, hidden safely beyond the Council's reach, Agent Keith Anderson reported to his superior. "It's done," he told Director Laura Mills. "They know we have everything." "And what did you think of the High Minister?" she asked. Keith considered his answer carefully. He's afraid but not ready to change. They still think this is about power or revenge. Laura nodded. Then we moved to Phase 3, the demonstration. That night, in Earth's hidden headquarters, the human leadership approved the next step of their plan. It would show the Council beyond any doubt that humanity could have destroyed them at any time, but had chosen not to. Because the greatest fear isn't of what your enemy might do to you. It's the fear of what they could do but are choosing not to do yet. 18 months had passed since humanity disappeared from galactic society. The Council worlds had almost adjusted to the new normal. They had found ways to manage without human expertise. Food supplies were stable again. Medical procedures had been updated. The galaxy moved on, though many still wondered where the humans had gone and what they were planning. They didn't have to wonder much longer. On the anniversary of Earth's original joining of the Galactic Council, something strange happened. Exactly the same moment on every Council world across thousands of light years, all power systems went dark. Defense grids failed. Communication networks died. Emergency backups didn't activate. Everything just stopped. For exactly 7 minutes, the entire Council civilization sat in darkness and silence. Then, as suddenly as they had failed, all systems came back online. Everything seemed normal. But it wasn't. On the military world of Drax's Prime, Weapons Officer Kelb ran system checks on his planet's defense grid. "Something's wrong," he told his commander. "The targeting systems are working, but they're off by 0.003 degrees. "That's within acceptable parameters," his commander said with a shrug. "No, you don't understand," Kelb insisted. "Every single weapon in our entire planetary defense network is off by exactly the same amount. That's not a random error. That's deliberate." Similar reports came in from across Council space. Every weapon system had been subtly altered, not enough to notice during routine checks, but enough to ensure that if the weapons ever fired at a human ship, they would miss. The Council Military Command ran simulations. The results were terrifying. Their entire defense network had been rendered useless against humans, all without firing a shot. And the adjustment had been made simultaneously across thousands of worlds separated by vast distances. "How is this possible?" demanded the High Minister in an emergency session. "No signal can travel that fast between star systems." No one had an answer. That same day, Counselor Zren arrived at his private estate to find disaster. He had the largest botanical garden in the galaxy, with plants from 10,000 worlds. Now, every single plant had withered and died. In their place were earth flowers, beautiful blooms of every color that shouldn't have been able to grow in his world's soil. When his gardeners tried to remove them, they discovered something even stranger. The flowers released a scent that caused intense anxiety in Zren's species. He couldn't even enter his own garden without feeling overwhelming fear. The message was clear. The humans knew exactly who had ordered the illegal harvesting of Earth's biological resources, and they had delivered a highly personal response. In the secure research facility on Melka 4, Dr. Linda Reeves had been the Council's greatest hope. A human quantum physicist, she had been recruited against her will a month before humanity's withdrawal. The Council had kept her isolated, forcing her to work on weapons that could track humans through their dimensional hiding places. For 18 months, she had made slow progress under guard. But on the morning after the power failure, guards found her laboratory empty. All her research was gone. Every computer had been wiped clean. A single message was written on the wall. "She's home. Now?" No one had entered or left the facility. The security cameras showed nothing. One moment Dr. Reeves was working at her desk, and the next, between one frame of video and the next, she was simply gone. The Council called its best scientists to examine what had happened. They found no explanation that fit within known physics. One elderly physicist finally said what many were thinking. "We need to consider that human science has moved beyond our understanding. They don't use technology as we do. They use it as we use language, fluently, naturally, in ways we cannot follow." On 15 different worlds, statues appeared overnight in public squares. Each was a perfect replica of a human who had died during the Council's secret operations, on Earth. Beneath each statue was a plaque telling their story, how they had been taken, experimented on, and disposed of when no longer useful. The Council tried to remove the statues. They couldn't be moved, cut, or damaged in any way. People began leaving flowers beside them. Public opinion, already turning against the Council, shifted further. Many species began openly calling for new leadership, ones who would make peace with the humans. In a secret facility deep beneath the Council headquarters, military leaders gathered to plan a desperate counterstrike. "We know approximately where their homeworld must be," said Admiral Cree. "Even if we can't detect it, we can saturate that region of space with enough firepower to destroy anything there." He activated a holographic display showing the planned attack. As he spoke, the display changed on its own. The attacking fleet's icon vanished. In its place appeared a simple message. This would be unwise. Everyone in the room froze. Their most secure facility had been compromised. Their most secret plans were being monitored in real time. The display changed again, showing a different star system entirely, one on the far side of the galaxy from Earth. Then it zoomed in on a small moon. The moon's surface seemed to shimmer, and then it wasn't there anymore. In its place was an asteroid field. That moon was used by the Drell Collective to develop biological weapons for use against Earth, said a voice from nowhere and everywhere. "We removed it from existence 17 minutes ago. There were no living beings on it at the time." The message was clear. The humans could have done the same to any Council world. They could do it any time they wanted. The meeting ended immediately. The attack plans were abandoned. That night, every senior Council member received the same dream. They saw Earth, beautiful and blue. They saw human cities full of art and music. They saw human children playing in parks. They saw what they had tried to destroy, and they understood what they had almost lost. On the hidden human world of New Terra, the Leadership Council received reports of the day's events. "The demonstration was successful," said Director Laura Mills. "All objectives were achieved with no casualties." Captain Ryan Hughes of the Horizon asked the question on everyone's mind. "Will it be enough? Will they understand what we're trying to show them?" Mills looked at the data screens showing real-time reactions across Council space. "Some already do. The rest will soon. They need to understand that our restraint is a choice, not a weakness." Communications Director Ben Cole added, "Public opinion is shifting faster than we predicted. Many alien species are openly calling for peace with humans now." "And the others?" asked Hughes. "They're afraid," Cole said simply. "Which was the point?" Laura nodded. "Fear can be useful when it teaches the right lesson. They feared us for the wrong reasons before. They saw us as a threat to their power. Now they fear us for the right reason. They understand we have the power to end them but choose not to. Prepare for Phase 4, she told her team. In 6 months we return, but not as supplicants, as equals. Across the galaxy in the darkness between stars, human ships moved silently, invisibly, preparing for the day when humanity would rejoin galactic society. Not because they needed to, but because they chose to, and the galaxy would never be the same. 2 years to the day after humanity walked away from the Galactic Council, a single human ship appeared in orbit around the Council homeworld. The vessel was unlike any seen before. It was neither large nor threatening. It carried no visible weapons. Its hull was smooth and white, shaped like a teardrop. It made no attempt to hide or defend itself. Panic spread through the Council defense forces. Emergency alerts sounded. Weapon systems activated automatically, then shut down on their own. The strange ship continued its approach, broadcasting a simple message on all frequencies. "This is Ambassador William Carter of Earth. I come in peace to address the Council." The same William Carter who had led the human exodus 2 years earlier now returned, alone. The Council gathered in their grand hall. The room was tense. Some members wanted to arrest Carter. Others wanted to attack Earth immediately, before more human ships arrived. But most simply wanted answers. When Carter entered, he wore the same plain gray suit he had worn the day he announced humanity's withdrawal. He carried no weapons or devices. He wasn't even accompanied by guards. He walked calmly to the speaker's platform and stood waiting to be recognized. High Minister Zexitral, looking much older than 2 years earlier, spoke first. "Ambassador Carter, your return is unexpected. But not unwelcome, I hope," Carter replied with a small smile. "That depends on why you've come," said the minister. Carter looked around the chamber. Many seats were empty now. Some council members had resigned after the human demonstrations of power. Others had been removed by their own governments. A few new faces looked back at him with cautious hope. "For 2 years," Carter began, "we have shown you what humanity is capable of when provoked. We have demonstrated our reach, our technology, and our restraint. We could have destroyed you. Instead, we educated you." He reached into his pocket and removed a small device. When activated, it projected a hologram of the galaxy above the council floor. Scattered throughout were pulsing lights, thousands of them, in places far from council space, in regions the council had never fully explored. "What are those?" asked Councillor Drav. "Friends," Carter said simply. "While you plotted against us, we were making real allies. Species you thought too primitive or too different to have value. We've been sharing our technology, our medicine, our art with them. They're now under our protection." The council members looked at the map with growing alarm. The lights surrounded council space on all sides. If those were indeed allied systems with human technology, the council was effectively encircled. "This is a threat," said a Drell representative. "No," Carter corrected. "This is reality. For too long, the council has divided the galaxy into civilized species worthy of membership and primitive species to be exploited or ignored. We've created a different model, one based on mutual respect and cooperation." He changed the display to show trade routes connecting the new alliance systems. "Our network is already larger than the council's. Our combined scientific output exceeded yours 6 months ago. Our economic growth is triple your current rate." The High Minister looked ill. "What do you want from us? To surrender?" Carter shook his head. "We want what we always wanted, to be part of a fair and just galactic community. We're willing to return to the council, but under new terms: equal partnership, transparent dealings, an end to biological harvesting and territorial restrictions." He smiled slightly. "You have 24 hours to decide, but regardless of your choice, know this: humanity will never again be underestimated, and we will never again walk away quietly." The chamber erupted in debate. Some council members shouted for war. Others called for immediate acceptance of human terms. Through it all, Carter stood quietly, waiting. That evening, in a private meeting room, the High Minister met with Carter. The formal trappings of office were set aside. Two beings from different worlds spoke plainly. "Your terms are reasonable," the minister admitted. But many fear this is just the first step, that humans will eventually take over the council completely. Carter poured a cup of tea, a human custom the minister had come to appreciate. We have no interest in ruling others. It goes against our nature. How can we believe that? You've shown such power. Because we had that power 2 years ago and didn't use it, Carter said. We could have destroyed the council then. Instead, we left peacefully. Even when we demonstrated what we could do, we harmed no one. The minister considered this. Why not just form your own alliance and leave us behind? Why return at all? Because diversity makes us all stronger, Carter said. Humans learned that lesson painfully on our own world. Different perspectives, different biology, different ways of thinking, they all contribute to greater wisdom. The council has much to offer. It just needs to remember its founding principles. The next morning, the full council voted. The decision was unanimous. Accept the human terms without modification. When Carter left the chamber after signing the new agreement, the Yangdar High Minister walked with him. There's something I must ask, the minister said quietly. Why didn't you just destroy us when you discovered our betrayal? You clearly had the capability. Carter stopped walking and turned to face him. Because that's not who we choose to be. Humanity's strength isn't in our capacity for violence, it's in our capacity for mercy. Remember that the next time you mistake kindness for weakness. 1 month later, human ships and stations began reappearing throughout council space. Human workers returned to their jobs. Human tourists visited alien worlds. Human doctors shared new medical breakthroughs. It was as if they had never left, except everything had changed. The new council, reorganized under human guidance, extended membership to 15 previously ignored species. Trade flourished. Scientific progress accelerated. Old enemies became cautious allies. On a garden world far from the political center, William Carter sat with Counselor Drav, watching alien children and human children playing together in a park. Did you plan it all this way? She asked. From the very beginning? Carter smiled. Not exactly. We hoped the council would change without such dramatic measures, but we were prepared if it didn't. And if the council had chosen war instead of peace? Carter's expression grew serious. Then we would have defended ourselves, but I never doubted the outcome. Because of your superior technology? Drav asked. No, said Carter, because fear is temporary but hope is permanent. We offered both. Fear of our power but hope for a better future. Hope always wins in the end. As the sun set on the new galactic order, children of a dozen species played in harmony. The humans had walked away to teach the galaxy a lesson. They had returned to build something better. When humans walked away, the Galactic Council knew fear. When humans returned, they learned respect. And from respect grew something neither had fully understood before true partnership.